Oh my. What do we have here? We got another reaction, you feel me? This time we not in Chicago. No more Chicago gangs, you feel me? Right now, we're taking a trip all the way to the Midwest, I think. I'm not really sure. Not good at that. We all taking the trip all the way to Philadelphia. Philly Daily Game War, the truth of Mr. Disrespectful. Mr. Disrespectful, also known as YPC Duel. I think that's bro name. RIP to him. Let's hop into it. We got a long one, so make sure you got some snacks, some water or something. This John 4 hours.
Visit patreon.com
You peep the Philly
/traplordross,
lingo.
where you
This
can sign
John
up for just
4
$2.
hours.
On the 23rd of August 2024, Philadelphia rapper by the name of YBC Duel was gunned down in a car. To the outside world, this was another tragic loss of a young, promising rapper, a victim of gun violence in an inner-city war zone. But to the followers of Philadelphia drill music, his death was far from surprising, as YBC Duel had another nickname, Mr. Disrespectful,
Mr.
a moniker earned
Disrespectful.
from years of disrespectful trolling of rival gangsters. He would diss his ops in his music, bragging about how his friends had
Okay, whew, we done overcooked you, man, and wrapped him up in extra glad. Popping all that gangster shit. McBunnies and McNuggets. I ain't never heard that song before.
killed their friends, and he would post videos that appeared to show him digging up
Whoa! How to two-step. McBunnies and McNuggets. This nigga digging up a grave?
the graves of
See
dead
where he
rivals.
got his name
And
from?
perhaps
What
worst
the
of all,
fuck?
he would troll his gang's victims' grieving mothers on the internet.
What do you think is some of the most disrespectful things you've done? Obviously, the one that comes to mind is, the notorious, the grave digging situation.
That's crazy.
Though, like, I've been drawn like one of the most disrespectful John though when I said I was gonna slap K3 mom though.
You were gonna smack his mom?
Slap mom? Yeah. Digging up a nigga grave. What? Like, whoa.
Yeah, cause she be dissing my homies. I don't know what she be on. She like an old miserable mother.
With all of this dark trolling, it's no surprise then that many people online were not surprised by the death of YBC Duel. Many were in fact happy that this rapping menace had been taken off the streets, but in many ways, the life and death of Mr. Disrespectful is a
R.I.P.
symptom of a very demented and deranged music scene flourishing in Philadelphia. The emergence of drill music originally in Chicago saw the rebirth of a new disrespectful form of gangster rap, where rappers rapped about real murders and disrespected their ops, dead and alive, by name in songs for millions to hear. And for thousands of the most dedicated fans of drill music emerged discussion forums on places like Reddit, where interested fans could discuss and follow along with the latest song releases and murders taking place in the Chicago underworld. This form of gangster rap punditry has now spread all over the world, with drill music scenes and their related fan communities all following along, keeping score of the gang wars and the music about it in their respective cities. From the knife-murdering gangster rappers in London, followed by the UK drill subreddit, to the gun-toting Chicago drillers in r/Chiracology, or the blood and crip monitoring world of r/Cali banging.
Hey, Traveler Ross. I need a Cali one. I need a LA. That's where I'm from. I need a LA one. I'm trying to tap in with the culture. I'm trying to see what really be going on out here.
In Los Angeles, drill music and its surrounding culture has exploded in popularity all over the world, and Philadelphia is no exception, with the Reddit community Philly Wiki being the premier hangout and discussion spot for anything occurring in Philadelphia's gang or drill music world. However, despite Chicago having a long history of disrespect when it comes to ops, it seems that Philadelphia has now taken it to a new level, because beyond Mr. Disrespectful, there's crew after crew of Philadelphia gangsters turned rappers willing to say the unthinkable on the mic. And that's not just disrespecting the dead. In Philly, you have rappers killing multiple people and then rapping about it immediately afterwards. Not only that, but within hours of murders taking place in Philadelphia, rabid fans take to the internet and social media to speculate on the most juicy details, sharing surveillance footage of murders and analyzing gang hits and hitters like they're professional basketball.
Hey, these Reddit motherfuckers, these Reddit people, they do better police work than the actual police. These motherfuckers be going into details. Like,
Basketball players.
some of these
All
niggas
while
got the
real-life
wrong
district
career.
attorney for the city, tasked with shutting the gangs down, trolls them mercilessly in news conferences, making fun of the gangs' names and promising to take them off the streets for good.
Ultimately, this case is about YBC. And YBC, sometimes known as the Young Bag Chasers, has a new name. I didn't invent it. Somebody else did. The new name is you've been charged, and the newer name is you've been convicted.
Nah.
We did a press conference not all that long ago about a
You've been
group called
charged,
O
you've
to the
been
4.
convicted.
And at that time, we said O to the 4 was going to go to the jail, and they did.
And they
There is a group
did.
known as 524. Well, some of what we're going to talk about today will close the jailhouse door on 524. We're going to talk about CCK. CCK is going away.
Bro is enjoying this. Bro is like, yeah, I'm gonna get the crowd with this. I'm gonna get the crowd saying this right here.
They better get ready. We're going to talk about a group known as 56th Street, and also sometimes called Christie Rec, because they can be found near Christie Rec at times. Well, we got a new kind of rec. We got a new kind of recreation for members of the group Christie Rec. You might call it SCI Rec, State Correctional Institution Rec. Christie Rec
Nigga
is
going in
going to
on
get
them.
yard time.
The world of Philadelphia drill is like no other music scene in the world, so today we're going to take a closer look at the city so violent that some people call it Killadelphia, and answer once and for all, how has the city of
What happened to
Philadelphia
brotherly
become the most
love?
disrespectful city in drill?
No more brotherly love, no more.
In West Philadelphia.
People that never
Born
been
and
to the
raised.
city of Philadelphia, man, the city of Philly is rough, man. It's a rough city. Philly is like, it's like a pretty much like, don't want you to win, and people just, like, everybody out for themselves.
Some summer nights can even turn cold. In the streets of Philly where don't even get to turn old.
Philly really popping like that? Let me find out.
And big, as you can see, you feel me, my block, where I get my name from, you feel me, PNB Rock, past Stories and Big and Rock.
PNB
You feel me?
Rock.
Everybody on my way got the same, like, little acronym in front of their names. Like, you get a lot of PNBs.
Hey, yo, where the fuck Barney at, yo? Barney, where the fuck you at? Ah!
Y'all hear? Nah, that's evil. Y'all hearing that laugh?
Barney,
Nigga got his evil villain laugh.
Barney at, yo? Barney, where the fuck you at? Ah!
Nah, that. That's
That's
a little
to say
crazy.
too though. All ops, CCK, LMG, 56th Street, Belmont, 38th Street, 39th Street, the Dub too, Collar Hill, Parkside. Like, is the real disrespectful. I'm going who you is. I will disrespect you.
You could be the next K. You could be the next K.
When I realized I started making money off dissing dead niggas, like, bro, I really make like.
When I was watching some of the documentaries about what's going on in the streets of Philly, it was saying
Nigga found his call and he said, when I learn I can make money off of this and dead niggas, I should keep doing this more often. What the hell? Alright. Let's have this motherfucker 4 hours. We gotta get to the good stuff. We're gonna hop straight into the murders, cause 4 hours, that's a little long. Ad block working? Of course it's not. Of course you don't want to work.
And the clappers with a
Of course. There we go.
Throughout 2017, 18 and 19, YBC members were making a name for themselves as rappers as well as gangsters, with the likes of J100 dropping songs like Pushin' the Gas with Satcho, or the song Portland with YBC Hemo and Lil Dre, and one time with Lil Dre where they dissed O to the 4. But it would be the middle of 2019 when YBC would suffer their first major loss, which massively escalated the gang war in their neighborhood. On the 29th of May 2019, an 18-year-old Joshua David Munson, better known by his friends as YBC Josh or Baby YBC, would be outside in YBC's hood on the 4200 block of Wyoling Avenue. At around 1:40 PM, an unknown man would park his car near the Wyoling Avenue and quickly approach Josh on foot, opening fire, hitting him multiple times, before running back to his car and fleeing westbound. As the police would arrive at the scene, they would find Josh in critical condition and take him to the nearby Presbyterian Hospital, but unfortunately, 2 days later, on the 31st of May, Josh would pass away from his injuries. At the time, Josh's murder would seemingly receive very little coverage from the local media, but in 2021, his case would be picked up by the local 6 ABC television television station for their series covering cold cases.
It's been 2 years since a teenager was gunned down on a sidewalk in Philadelphia's Parkside section. Now law enforcement hopes a big reward will urge someone to come forward to solve this case.
On Wednesday,
the police can't do their jobs, so they turn into the civilians. I ain't gonna lie. This time and age with all this technology, surveillance, cameras, and we can't catch people getting clapped. Like, dude parked his car, hopped out the motherfucker, walked on the sidewalk, blinked bro down, hopped back in his car, drove off, and ain't been caught to this day. 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. 5 years. So you saying all I gotta do is really just hop out my V and gun a nigga down, that's it? And I'm gonna get away with it?
May 29th, 2019, Joshua David Munson was along the 4200 block of Wyalusing Avenue in Philadelphia's Parkside section. At 1:40 p.m.
Oh shit, I ain't gonna hold you. This look like the trenches. Ain't no cameras over here. Yeah, ain't no surveillance over here. They ain't got nothing.
Police were called to the area for a person with a gun.
Upon arrival, police observed the victim, who was later ID'd as Joshua Munson. He was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds and was taken to Presbyterian Hospital, where he was listed in critical condition.
Unfortunately, the 18-year-old died from his injuries on May 31st. Police have released some details on the suspect and the suspect's vehicle. At the time of the shooting, police say a black male between 24 and 25 years old, wearing blue shorts and a white tank top.
Let's just analyze this. Black male, 24, 25. I guess we can tell how somebody aged, what somebody age is. Blue shorts, white tank top. Let's just gold Dodge Ram pickup. Nigga ain't even try to be discreet with it, bro. A gold car, my nigga. Like, what the fuck has a gold car? Y'all niggas couldn't find a gold Ram?
On the corner of 42nd Street and Mantua Avenue, just around the corner from Munson. Police say the man exited the truck and jogged to Wyalusing Avenue. They say the man then ran back to the truck immediately following the shooting and drove westbound on Mantua Avenue.
The city of Philadelphia is offering a $20,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the person.
All you have to do is call the Citizens Crime Commission tip line at 215-546-TIPS. All calls will remain anonymous.
The motive was unknown. There was nothing taken that we were aware of, and it's just another senseless killing of a teenager.
In his 2024 vlog with the YouTuber Brandon Buckingham, YBC Doll would reflect on losing Josh while stood outside of his house.
I got a video of Josh right now. He said, when you come to my crib, throw some rocks in my back window. Like, that's our first loss. That's our first YBC loss. Oh, he pissing right here, but look, right here, it's his crib. It's Josh's crib right here.
He passed?
Yeah, he passed away. I got him tatted on my face right here. For Josh too. Like, all my homies booked, bro. Don't you know I just was telling you about Josh, right? I was right here tagging up. Josh was supposed to come meet me. No, I was tagging a weed. I was supposed to go meet him at the corner of the block. All I heard is gunshots. Boom, 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 boom.
I'm hearing gunshots right now.
Bro, that's good, but all I'm hearing is gunshots. Boom, boom, boom. Bro, my man, band up y'all's coming around the corner. He said, bro, Josh, bro. I just broke down crying. I'm like, damn, bro.
Damn.
Our ops block right here, bro.
It was the death of Josh that took things to a whole new level in the streets for YBC members. In fact, people on Reddit would later describe Josh as being like the O.D. Perry of YBC. O.D. Perry being the young man who the infamous O Block in Chicago, real name Parkway Gardens, is named after, with his death taking place all the way back in 2011. This comparison likely meaning that just like the death of O.D. had been pivotal to many of the youngsters from Parkway due to O.D. being such a loved member, and that this being one of the first major losses to really hit home for many of them. Similarly, for the youngsters in YBC, the loss of Josh likely meant the beginning of a new, much darker era defined by the need for revenge. And just like how the death of O.D. Perry would escalate the existing gang war and start a new string of back and forth killings on the south side of Chicago, the death of Josh would lead to a seemingly endless cycle of violence in West Philly and beyond. In the months that followed, YBC members would stay heavily active in music. J100 continued dropping songs like Turn Up Part 2, Steppers, and 1:30, and Reek 1200 dropped the Pain song, His Story, followed by the melodic track, Mobbin'. The young YBC members still had a lot of potential in music, but the pull of the streets would be strong too, and members would be looking to avenge YBC Josh. 10 months after the death of Josh, on the 2nd of March 2020, a 19-year-old Nifik Hawkins, known in the streets as Bud or Buddy, was playing basketball at the playground on 39th and Olive, located in the Mantua neighborhood, not far from where Josh had lost his life. However, Buddy was seemingly not from the area, but rather from the neighborhood whose set claims the 62nd and...
So you from 62nd and Callow Hill, and you playing all the way on 39th and Olive. What are we doing? You're not even in your section no more. You across town. You in the ops territory, I'm assuming. What is you doing?
Callow Hill. But anyway, while on the busy court playing a pickup game with other people, someone would suddenly approach Buddy, shooting him numerous times in the torso and legs. Buddy too would be transported to the nearby Presbyterian hospital, where he would unfortunately pass away. And while the basketball court had seemingly been full of people, nobody would provide any description of the
So niggas can just walk up on feet? Yo. Niggas are getting smoked on foot and nobody's getting caught. That says a lot. At a basketball court, they probably playing fives. There's 9 other niggas, and I know there's people on the sideline. So somebody really just bang the nigga right in the court, ran off. Nobody seen nothing, and he's not caught. Yo. What is going on out here?
Shooter or shooters.
A man was shot and killed on a basketball court in Mantua this evening.
You gotta be a different type of bro. You gotta be a cold nigga to see y'all out playing basketball on the court. Like, man, I'm finna smoke this nigga right here, right now. Walked up, smoked, bro. He probably going through tween pick and roll. Nigga caught a bullet, and nobody seen nothing.
The shooting happened on the 3900 block of Olive Street around 5 o'clock. Police say the victim was shot multiple times. At this point, police have not discovered a motive, and no one has been arrested.
Learning new information about a deadly shooting on a basketball court in Philadelphia's Mantua section. It happened just after 5 yesterday afternoon on the 3900 block of Olive Street. The 19-year-old victim was pronounced dead a short time later. Investigators now say the victim was shot several times and was indeed the intended target. Witnesses say a game was going on at the time, but it's unclear if the victim was playing or watching. There were 30 people clustered around the victim when officers arrived at the court. Still, so far, there's no description of a shooting.
If you
come on now, why the ad block not? Oh, I'm gonna have to edit this motherfucker. I don't feel like doing all that.
The fastest run from home to first, 3.3 seconds. And you can score MLB tickets almost as quickly at Ticketmaster.com/MLB.
Oh my days. What the fuck going on?
Shooter or shooters.
Once again, the murder of Buddy would receive limited coverage from the local press beyond these initial reports, although his name would be included in the long list of gun violence victims that the local newspaper on these initial reports. Although his
What the every gun victim had a name. Is this all in 1 year? Is this all in one? I'm not finna count all this, but like, that's a cool. From here to here, that's a cool maybe 30. It's got to be 100 plus. 100 plus niggas. Golly.
His name would be included in the long list of gun violence victims that the local newspapers would report on during the summer of 2020. But as Philadelphia was beginning gun violence...
This was all in the... This was all in the summer?
victims that the local newspapers would report on during the summer of 2020. But as Philadelphia was beginning to experience a wave of gun-related killings not seen in generations, much like many other major cities in America, however, it does seem that there were eventually people charged for this murder, although unsurprisingly, the Philly news media would fail to report on it. According to online rumors, 2 people would allegedly be charged for the murder, one of them known in the streets as YBC Von. And then, in 2022, a rapper called Tay Savage 215 from the 60-second and Callow Hill set, also known as Hoopers or Blow for Bud in honor of Buddy, would post an Instagram story of members from his set allegedly catching Von in prison and beating him up. In 2024, during their vlog with the British YouTuber Khadija, a rapper called Remu from the Hoopers would pay tribute to their fallen friends, including Buddy or Bud.
What's a hooper?
What's a hooper?
What's a hooper?
Me and I lost my homie. I lost my homie Ja. You feel me? Long live Ja and all that. You feel me? All the bros, we all like. We lost Ja. His name was Ja the Hooper though. Like, you feel me? And we just be hooping for Ja. Like, you could apply hooping. We apply hooping to everything we do. Like, you get in the studio, you working. That's like putting up shots in practice. You feel me? Like performing all that. That's like the game. Like, we do a lot of we just hoop. Like, so we the hoopers. Like, and it mean a lot to us. You feel me? Cause it's really for our homie. Like, me personally, you feel me? It's really for my homie. So doing this, we lost homies to the system. We lost homies to gun violence. Long live Ja. Long live Crazy Will, long live Steve Drive. Feel me? We lost a lot of homies. Feel me? The bros got long live Bud. Feel me? It's a lot of homies.
Show me Quan, you know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, also in 2024, during his vlog with Brandon Buckingham, YBC Dull would visit the basketball court where this happened and say that the last time he was there was when Bud died, before laughing hysterically, as well as saying that this was J100's block.
When on the last time I've been in this park? Well, Bud died. But we ain't come to the...
This nigga laugh, yo. Minutes.
Last time I've been in this park.
When Bud died. What the fuck?
Bro, we ain't come to this park ever since then, bro. No, bro, that was my right hand man, bro. This J100 block right here, like this, where J100 to be at right now. This J100 block. Put your burn up. Put that burn up, bro.
A few months after the murder of Buddy, J100 continued dropping music, like the tracks What I Do and Havoc in July, and after that, he dropped a song titled Stand on Business, where Jay rapped about his gang spinning blocks on their ops and putting in work, as well as ending the song with a tribute to Josh. But interestingly, he wouldn't diss Buddy by name, as it would be a few years before YBC rappers would begin openly dissing Buddy in their music. Buddy would go on to be a name that would be heavily disrespected by members of YBC who rapped, but then of course, nobody would go harder than Mr. Disrespectful himself, who would frequently say in his music that he's smoking Buddy, or pointing out that he got shot 16 times in the park. Clearly, after the murder of their beloved friend YBC Josh, the murder of Buddy meant a lot to the surviving YBC members. But naturally, Buddy's friends and affiliates would be equally devastated, looking to get revenge of their own. Particularly, a young man by the name of Sidney Sessoms, aka Sid or Fro, who would later be described as a major problem in the streets for YBC. Sid came from 39th Street and was seemingly a fearless shooter when it came to the beef with YBC, with rumors circulating on Reddit that he was responsible for the murders and shootings of numerous rivals. Apparently, following the murder of Buddy, there were numerous shootouts that Sid got involved in, including a rumored shootout near 38th Street close to where Sid lived, where he was hit but survived, which could well be this mass shooting reported on 38th and Poplar in August 2020, where 2 of the surviving victims will be 18-year-old males, this age possibly matching that of Sid at the time. A few months after Buddy's murder, another person was shot and killed, a man named Brashawn Hall, aka BL. According to CBS News Philadelphia, at 9:30 p.m. on September the 28th, 2020, a 21-year-old was shot multiple times in the head and pronounced dead at the scene on the 900 block of Belmont Avenue, with the police and news attending the scene to record a report.
Tonight, Philadelphia police say a 21-year-old man was shot and killed execution style in Belmont. It happened at Belmont and Westminster Avenues around 9:30. Investigators say the gunman fired 15 shots at the victim near his house. They are looking for a tan car seen speeding away from that area. So far, no arrests or motive in this case.
A few weeks later, BL would have his funeral, which would be live streamed on Facebook for friends and family. BL was from 43rd and believed to be a casualty to Sid's set from 39th. As a result, members from 39th, like Sid, became even bigger targets of their various surrounding rivals. In one of the most senseless killings in this story, a few months later when Sid had been sent to jail for an unknown charge, charge, false information would circulate that Sid would be getting released on March 18th, 2021, with shooters sliding to the jail and killing a man named Rodney Hargrove by mistake, thinking it was Sid.
He didn't deserve this.
To the jail and
Family files lawsuit after man killed outside. 1 hour after so, catching a nigga while they're walking out of jail is a different. That's a different kind of thought, my nigga. Like, yeah, he coming out the sheriff's station. We finna smoke, bro, right here on the steps. You're going to get caught. Niggas don't give no fucks. Yeah, he finna get out today. Bet that we finna slide in an hour and catch the wrong nigga. RP him.
Killing a man named Rodney Hargrove by mistake, thinking it was Sid.
He didn't deserve this. Not even close.
Rodney Hargrove Sr. says the pain and heartbreak of his son's murder, Rodney Hargrove Jr. won't go away. March 18th, Hargrove was shot and killed outside the Curran Firmhold Correctional Facility.
I didn't understand. And he telling me my baby was gone.
Hargrove took this video just moments after his release. Tragically, he was shot and killed just an hour after being let out of the correctional facility. His family has now filed a wrongful death and civil rights lawsuit. After his early morning release around 1 a.m., the prison transported Hargrove across the street to a bus stop. While waiting on a ride, Hargrove ran back onto prison grounds because he was being chased by a car. It's not clear why, but investigators say there was no guard at the gate and the car followed Hargrove. He was shot and killed just feet from a raised gate. The shooter was identified as Amin Hurst.
Despite
Grove.
No guard at the gate. It's kind of crazy.
He was shot and killed just feet from a raised gate. The shooter was identified as
this nigga? Demon. I think he was like the Philadelphia Grim Reaper. This nigga was the demon. I think this nigga broke out of jail too. That nigga cold. He's cold.
Amin Hurst.
Despite the fact that the man killed was innocent and simply mistaken for Sydney, this didn't stop YBC rappers like Dull making fun of this innocent man's murder. Dull would rap on his track Free F5 that he thought he was smoking on Sid, but the whole time he was smoking on Rodney, and that they kill anyone they catch on their ops block, regardless of who it is. The shooter, responsible, Amin Hurst, would turn out to be an incredibly deadly factor in the streets, responsible for numerous murders. We'll be covering his story in more detail later. But even after murdering an innocent man in a case of mistaken identity, YBC shooters were not done, and they would continue their relentless campaign to try and get Sid. Things would escalate again in May 2021 after Sid was released from jail when he was allegedly caught outside his home and shot at by the ops, with this incident taking a tragic turn as the bullets didn't strike their intended target, but instead wounded Sid's 6-year-old sister who had been playing outside.
These niggas just be shooting. They just be shooting niggas. You caught the wrong nigga. Then you can't even catch a target. You caught a little bro's sister. She's 6. Is she even conscious? Yeah, she's conscious.
At the time.
A 6-year-old girl has been shot in a drive-by shooting in the 3800 block of Wyalusing Avenue.
Now, police say it was about 3:40 this afternoon in the 3800 block of Wyalusing in the Mantua section. The little girl was playing outside. Suddenly, a group of young men came running towards her, apparently being followed by men in a dark-colored sedan. Shots rang out, striking parked cars and homes, and as it turns out, the 6-year-old girl. She ran to her parents, who were sitting in their car, and told them that she had been shot in the leg. She was then taken to Children's Hospital for treatment. Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw rushed to the scene when she heard a 6-year-old had been shot. Here's what she had to say.
It's disgusting yet again that I'm here speaking to you about a 6-year-old getting shot, but what's also very striking to me is that the 6-year-old had the wherewithal to tell her parents that she had been shot.
Oh, man, what if I was 6? I would have got shot. I would have been on for like I'm dead. What? I would have been on that motherfucker. Gone.
6-year-old know, but getting shot is like, how does a 6-year-old know what bullets sound like or what gunfire sounds like? And how does she know, or how does he or she know what a bullet wound looks like. That is what's so heart-wrenching for me.
Police say the area is well known to them, the scene of several recent shootings between apparently rival gangs.
Less than 24 hours after being shot in the leg, a very brave 6-year-old girl limped to her home on Wyalusing Street Tuesday afternoon. Her parents asking not to be identified tell Fox 29, thankfully she's going to be okay.
As long as she's okay, I'm okay. So that's all that matters to me.
Police say the first grader was an innocent bystander simply riding her bike outside her home Monday just after 3 when gunshots rang out. She was shot once and raced to the hospital. The girl's dad says it's time to move.
You know, I'm just thanking God she's still here with us.
It's a shame our children know about gunshots and everything.
Police have recovered surveillance video of the vehicle used in this drive-by shooting. They continue to say at this point that this looks like it's connected to some other shootings in the area, that it's a back and forth between two groups. They're tracking some leads and hope to make an arrest.
Sid and his sister would survive this incident, and the family would ultimately move across town to Port Richmond, also known as Little Poland due to the neighborhood's large Polish community. But unfortunately, even moving away from the immediate surroundings of the escalating gang war couldn't save Sid, and eventually he would get caught by his ops, who worked out where he was living. But even more unfortunate is the fact that he was allegedly on house arrest during this time. Therefore, once his enemies had his address, it was as simple as going to his home and getting the job done. Some rumors have circulated that Sid's
nigga moved away and still got God. You just can't win. You just can't win. You moved across town thinking, all right, we're gonna move. My little sister got shot because of me. We moved across town to still get smoked. He damn near gotta change identity.
Of the escalating gang war couldn't save Sid, and eventually he would get caught by his ops, who worked out where he was living. But even more unfortunate is the fact that he was allegedly on house arrest during this time. Therefore, once his enemies had his address, it was as simple as going to his home and getting the job done. Some rumors have circulated that Sid's
They slid at your house? Your casa? Your safe spots? Your safe place? They got your address, said, oh, he live right here? We ride at dawn.
Killers actually knew that he was at home because he was online playing video games, meaning he must have been inside the house.
Yeah, that shit not funny. That shit not funny, bro. You got because you was appearing online? Them niggas looked at the PlayStation friends list and said, oh, Sid's online, he's at home. We on his ass. That's the thought. Oh, he's playing 2K? Online? My Park neighborhood? Online? He's at home. We got him. Shit.
With disrespectful lyrics from YBC Doll coming out years later, suggesting that Sid was playing a game and was killed. It was all end on September the 16th, 2021, when 2 YBC shooters travelled to Sid's home on 2900 block of Wakehill Street in Port Richmond and opening fire. According to the DA's office, 2 shooters would arrive at the door, opening fire, and then chasing 19-year-old Sydney into his home, shooting him as well as his father, who fortunately ended up surviving the attack that would end up taking Sydney's life. The shooting would have an element of overkill, or as Philly rap.
No one thought this could be done.
Fuck! Why the ad block not working, B?
Other news.
Why the ad block not working? Now I gotta edit. I don't like doing
And the
that.
clappers with a K. The first
No!
CCK standing for the campers, who are based on O to the 4, Poplar in August 2020.
Time to
seen quickly and were alerted to an.
Although many news reports seem to indicate, and eventually he would get caught by his ops, who worked out where he was living. But even more unfortunate was at the door, opening fire, and then chasing 19-year-old Sydney into his home, shooting him as well as his father, who fortunately ended up surviving the attack that would end up taking Sydney's life. The shooting would have an element of overkill, or as Philly rappers would say, Sydney was overcooked. Besides the DA's office stating that Sydney was shot in the chest, at least one news report would claim that Sydney was actually shot in the nose, with rumours circulating online that he was shot so badly in the face that his nose was gone. And YBC Doll would later rap about the incident on his song Dynamic Duo, referring to the exact date of the murder.
Bro, what's September 6th? That's Friday. He tried to get off of the couch. That switch grabbed his face. Nah. He just at home chilling, playing Madden or something. You online with the guys. You on the headset. Then all you know, nigga kick down your door, start shooting. You try to run, and they in your house shooting. Yo.
And saying that Sydney, aka Fro, had been killed with a switch on his couch, the hail of bullets literally destroying his face. However, many news reports seem to indicate that Sydney was in fact killed in the doorway of his home. Sydney's brother Samuel, or Sam Sessoms Jr., is actually a talented basketball player who played for several different college teams, including Binghamton Bearcats, Penn State Nittany Lions, and Coppin State Eagles, and he now plays abroad for French basketball team Stade Rochelais in the city of La Rochelle. A lengthy post was made in 2021 profiling him and his journey to stay out of the streets, explaining how good students and talented athletes are usually off limits when it comes to gangsters. And he would even appear alongside his father in an interview about his basketball career, where his father would get emotional about his efforts to give his sons a better life.
I'm about to get emotional. Like, he's a great kid. Like, I say this all the time. When you have a son or a daughter, you want them and you give them your namesake, they probably don't even know it, but you put them at a level. And he done surpassed it. He done surpassed it. Like, if God took me today, I'm happy. And I mean that. I mean that.
I grew up on loyalty. Where we from, like a lot of places, like where I'm from really built me. You know, but like it's been times.
What
like,
block?
I'm from 39th and Walloosa, 39th Street. But it's all
at the bottom.
Yeah, it's the bottom.
Is that the bottom?
Yeah, it's the bottom.
It's the heart of the bottom.
However, he has at times taken to social media to warn people about dissing his brother. The shooter of Sid was a prominent member of YBC-affiliated YFA set named Arshad Curry, also known as Curryo or Most Wanted, a name reflecting his wild reputation in the streets. To make things even more crazy, after the murder of Sid and escaping the home, in the course of taking the police on a chase, he would open fire on officers that were responding to the shooting, but fortunately he didn't injure them, allegedly firing 6 shots at 2 to 3 uniformed police officers who chose not to return fire for the safety of civilians, instead taking chase. Curry then fled the scene and tried to hide under a car, where he was found and arrested, with the news soon reporting on this wild night.
Okay, they caught somebody. They finally caught somebody.
Happened.
We begin tonight with a deadly ambush in Port Richmond. A gunman shot and killed a 19-year-old man and wounded a 49-year-old believed to be the teenager's father. The gunman fired through the screen door of their home on the 2900 block of Weichel Street. Police say the gunman also fired at police officers as they pursued him down the street. They arrested the gunman on Monmouth Street. No officers were hit by the gunfire. The surviving victim is in stable condition.
One of the latest incidents of gun violence in Philadelphia has torn a family apart and put police in harm's way. Police were going after a suspect in a double shooting that killed a 19-year-old man when they came under fire themselves. 2 gunmen walked up to a front porch on the 2900 block of Weichel Street in the Port Richmond section last night. Police say the pair started shooting through a screen door. The teenager was fatally shot, along with a 49-year-old man believed to be his father. Police arrived on the scene quickly and were alerted to an area where people said a suspect had fled. That's when they themselves faced that gunfire.
So we believe that our suspect fired at least 6 shots at 2 or 3 full uniformed police officers. They are very, very lucky they didn't get hit. They didn't even return fire because there were a lot of people out on the streets, but they did chase this individual.
Police officers found the suspect hiding under a vehicle with a handgun and placed him in custody. There's no word on the whereabouts of the second suspect.
Philadelphia police are looking for a second gunman in a shooting that killed a teenager and wounded his father. The 19-year-old and his 49-year-old father were shot inside a home on Weichel Street in Port Richmond just after 8 o'clock. The son died at the hospital. His father is in critical but stable condition. Police say while they were at this scene, someone fired shots at them. Officers did not return fire and weren't injured. Police later arrested the suspected shooter.
As the killer of Fro, aka Sid, Curry would be a popular topic of discussion amongst Philly drill fans, and after his arrest, people would post details about his case, labeling him a crash out. People would also post Fro on Reddit saying how he was YBC's biggest problem, and the fact that Curry had taken him out was massive news. But Curry had been incredibly sloppy, and even shooting at the police when trying to escape meant that he was definitely cooked when it came to trial. Apparently the prosecution found the murder weapon, as well as Curry's phone, which contained evidence tying him to the case, giving prosecutors basically everything they needed to put him away. His defense would try to argue that he was a victim of his surroundings, but this ultimately didn't have any pull with the court, and Curry...
Victim of you walked into a nigga crib and smoked him! walked into a nigga crib, Swiss cheese the nigga, then shot at the police. Come on. Lock his ass up! Come on now.
He was ultimately sentenced to 42.5 to 85 years of state incarceration, not just for the murder of Sydney, but also for 2 other alleged murders, which we'll be discussing later in this story. Ultimately, though, the murder of YBC Josh was a major catalyst in escalating the war amongst members of YBC and their opposing gangs. And while for a period of time, Sydney from 39th Street was allegedly a formidable force against YBC, his brazen murder in his own home showed that YBC members were willing to crash out completely to defend their gang. And ultimately, this sequence of events meant that both Sydney and Curry, 2 of the deadliest shooters from their respective blocks, were now off the streets for good. 2020 had been a bad year for Philly, but unfortunately, 2021 would turn out to be even worse. The yearly homicide rate pushing past even the numbers at the height of the crack epidemic in the early 90s. But unfortunately, for the streets of Philly, Curry was by no means the only deadly member of YBC, and soon after, another young man would emerge, proving himself to be even more deadly than those that came before him. A teenage shooter, allegedly responsible for the killing of the innocent man Rodney Hargrove, who YBC thought was Sydney outside the jail. It turned out he would actually take the lives of 3 other people before eventually being caught. And just like Curry, he wouldn't go down without a fight either. But in this case, rather than shooting at the police before he was caught, this teenage gangster, facing 4 bodies, would end up escaping jail before his trial, taking the Philadelphia police on a statewide manhunt that shocked and embarrassed the authorities in Philadelphia at every single level.
Yeah, that nigga cold. That nigga cold for that one. That nigga cold. About to fucking spaz. Because why is this shit tripping? We still recording? Yeah. Why is this shit tripping?
While the murder of YBC Josh was a devastating loss to the members of YBC, their rivals would soon be suffering a loss of their own after the killing of a teenager by the name of Buddy. The war would continue to escalate into the end of 2020, while numerous shootouts were happening between YBC and their various rivals, including Sydney from 39th Street. Other young members of YBC would be seemingly lurking in the streets, desperate to catch more of their ops lacking, ultimately leading to more senseless murders of seemingly harmless people. The next tragedy would strike on Christmas Eve, when on December the 24th, 2020, police responded to the 1800 block of Wynwood Road after receiving a report of a person with a gun. They would attend the scene and find Daewoo Naishorn Struggs, aka Woo Biddy, age 20, on the ground. He had been shot several times in the torso, and he would unfortunately be pronounced dead.
Yo, it's at this point, yo, niggas just need to stay in the house. Nigga ain't had no Christmas spirit. He got smoked on Christmas Eve. Like, you just gotta stay in the house. You just really gotta stay in the house and be out the way.
Dead at 11:46 a.m. that day. He was actually an aspiring comedian, allegedly even filming a post for social media when he was killed. But some have suggested that actually he was killed after previously dissing his ops on social media, with prison YouTuber and snitch exposer 1090 Jake breaking down the case on his channel and showing the live that Scruggs was filming when he was shot.
He said, "These West dudes want to be my ops. Man, I only deal with Frankfurt shit. It don't involve me if it ain't Frankfurt."
When we shoot, you can't run when we shoot. I'ma smoke you. Real shit.
So obviously he has something going on in his own city and going on with West Philly, but still decided to walk through there. When a man seen on video walked up with a gun out. Skinny can be heard exchanging words with the shooter. It sounds as if he's speaking from behind a mask, but you can hear him say, "What's up? Go ahead, bro." And you can even hear the shooter respond back saying, "Sup." Skinny quickly said, "We on live." And you can hear the panic in his voice as the shooter raised the gun.
What's up? Go ahead, bro. Bro, go ahead, I'm live.
6 shots can be heard on video while Skinny falls to the ground on the side of 1871 Winewood Road. Police found him lying in the grass, shot multiple times to the chest and head, and 15 minutes after the shooting, Skinny was pronounced dead at the hospital.
A heartbreaking news report on the crime would be broadcast following the incident.
Robbed of one of her greatest joys, Spring Scruggs keeps reliving the murder of her grandson on Christmas Eve.
And I lost my heart. That was my baby.
Daewoo Scruggs loved his family. His last Instagram post was of him and his dad, who died 3 years ago.
1, 2 o'clock.
Daewoo also loved to make people feel good.
Daewoo would like hype me up. Like I would be in my room, he would come in there, he would hype me up. He like says you look cute.
The 20-year-old was an aspiring comedian. Now, the gunman who killed him has brought heartbreak to his family.
But he always knew, like, he had enemies. Like, he always knew people didn't like him. He always knew. Like, I never expected nobody to kill him.
Family members say Daewoo was walking to the bus stop to go to work at Home Depot. He got here to the intersection of Wynwood and Malvern. He was recording a video on social media. Then police say minutes later, an unknown man walked up to Daewoo and got into an argument with him. Seconds later, he pulled out a gun and shot Daewoo. It was all caught on video.
And ultimately, the suspect was caught on surveillance.
Can't be on live. You cannot be on live if you have ops. Especially in small cities or like blocks, bro, because niggas know surroundings. They probably seen a street sign. It was like, yeah, I know exactly where that tree is. He's standing right here. We on him. I can't do that one.
Cameras committing the crime too, and it wouldn't take long for the authorities to identify him as 16-year-old Amin Hurst.
A new surveillance video from Philadelphia police shows the moments which led to a Christmas Eve murder in Overbrook. The gunman wearing a dark-colored puffy coat following the victim, Daewoo Scruggs, along the 1800 block of Wynwood Road. As the two go off screen, you hear a barrage of gunshots, the suspect then running away. 20-year-old Daewoo, an aspiring comedian,
Somebody
left
finally
for dead.
had a camera.
Police are offering a $20,000 reward for his death.
However, before the cops would catch their suspect, Hurst would continue to commit violence in his community. On March the 11th, 2021, at 3:04 p.m., police responded to a shooting on the 1400 block of North 76th Street. Before police got there, 4 people who had been shot made their way to a local hospital. Naquan Smith, 24, who was shot in the chest, arm and shoulder, was pronounced dead at 3:12 p.m. And Tamir Brown, aka Lil Mir from O to the 4, age 16, who had been shot several times, was pronounced dead at 7:48 p.m. 2 more shooting victims, both 19 years of age, were placed in critical condition, but ultimately survived.
It was around 3 o'clock this afternoon when police began getting calls about shots fired and people shot behind Woodcrest Garden condos at 1400 North 76th
Nigga was
Street.
on a rampage.
Skyfox broadens out the scene for us. Police at 2 different locations in the neighborhood, both littered with dozens of evidence markers. It's unclear exactly how many shots in all were fired or how many people were shooting. Police say a 24-year-old man shot died shortly after at the hospital. The others listed in extremely critical condition include men and teens ages 30, 19, and 16 years old.
Allegedly, this shooting that claimed 2 young lives was also carried out by Amin Hurst. Lil Mir from O to the 4 was actually a rising rapper, and fans on Reddit were shocked by the news of his passing. And he had songs with other well-known rappers from his area like Lil Bucks. Lil Mir had appeared in an interview the previous year where he spoke on West Philly streets being a war zone and being a member of O to the 4.
So, man. Go to the floor. So it's a lot going on in the city, you know, current times. You know, a lot of killing going
This
on.
nigga look like a square respectfully.
If you know, you know. That's been bad, you heard me? That's
Respectfully, he look like a square.
Where's the all my been bad. That's all I can say. You a young artist coming up. I mean, you 16. I mean, so you real young. I mean, fresh in the game. I mean, so you say you from 64th Street. Y'all call that O to the 4. I mean, explain that for the people who ain't. It's 60th and Lansdowne and 64th and College. All right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. My ties for real. We all grew up together, digging. When we was young, it wasn't nothing like how it is now. Just know it's a war zone in the whole West Side. That's all I'm gonna say is the war zone. Every block in West Philadelphia.
He would explain that life got rough for him after his mother died when he was in 2nd grade, and that he's been in the streets providing for himself ever since.
I won't lie, like, it got rough as I got older. Like, when my mom died in 2012, I think I was in, like, 2nd grade or something. That's when it started getting rough, because she used to bust her ass for me, do whatever. To give me that shit. It just got bad when she left me. That's all.
Clearly, he was himself deep involved in the gang war, ending that interview saying F the ops.
All right, man, is there anything else you want to let the people know? Anything else you want to clarify?
Oh shit, it's working!
We not gonna say no name, man. Free the free ghost, free DK, free Sama.
So after this tragic double murder, Amin Hurst was building a formidable reputation in the streets, having killed 3 people in less than a year, but it wouldn't be long until he claimed another life. As I mentioned previously, one of YBC's most dangerous enemies was a 39th Street shooter by the name of Sid. Members from YBC would receive false info that Sid was getting out of prison on March the 18th, 2021, and a man named Rodney Hargrove was killed within an hour of leaving the prison in a case of mistaken identity. After this, the police would finally catch up with Amin Hurst and unravel the details of his deadly crime. crime spree. On March the 20th, 2021, Amin Hurst was arrested and charged as an adult with the murder of Daewoo Nashawn Scruggs that took place on Christmas Eve 2020. Then, on April the 21st, Hurst was rearrested and charged in the double murder of both Naquan Smith and Tamir Brown. And then finally, he was charged with the final murder of Rodney Hargrove outside the prison on the 28th of April 2021.
God damn. Nigga caught 4 niggas and escaped jail. Hey, at least Philly niggas is Philly police. They catching motherfuckers. Chicago, they ain't doing nothing out there. But Philly, they putting in a little work. They catching niggas. I can say that. They catching people.
Tonight, Philadelphia police say this 16-year-old is responsible for a months-long reign of gun.
16? 16? What grade was you in? Like the 10th grade? Bro, in the 10th grade with 4 bodies? Yo, where these niggas' parents be at?
Violence which left 4 people dead, including a man who was a victim of mistaken identity. Investigators say Amin Hurst was the gunman who shot and killed a 20-year-old man on Christmas Eve. In March, they say he was responsible for killing 2 people in a quadruple shooting. And a week after that shooting, investigators say Hurst shot and killed Rodney Hargrove just after Hargrove was released from jail. Police say Hargrove was not the intended victim.
An NBC 10 Philadelphia news report would air identifying Amin Hurst and the 4 murders he had allegedly committed.
Police now say 16-year-old Amin Hurst was the one who pulled the trigger on that aspiring comedian. On March 20th, Hurst was arrested and charged in that murder. But in between Scruggs' murder and those charges, there was another shooting. That time, 4 people were shot in a car. 2 of them died. Last week, Hurst was charged with those murders, and while he was behind bars, police took a closer look at a gun connected to him. That's when they discovered that gun was connected to another unsolved
Oh
murder
my
that we told you
God!
about as breaking news right after it happened in March. A 20-year-old man who'd just been released from jail was gunned down on the grounds of the Curran Fromhold Correctional Facility. Police say it appears as though that
This
man
nigga was
a
on
tragic
a
victim of
rampage.
mistaken identity. Now, Hurst, he may be a teenager, but it certainly did take some time for the authorities to track him down. The fugitive team, as well as the U.S. Marshals, they were searching for him. They say he was aware that they were looking for him, and he was going from place to place. He is now in custody and facing charges as an adult.
However, the police wouldn't easily take him off the streets, and in one of the wildest turn of events I've ever seen in a case so serious, Amin Hurst actually managed to escape jail and go on the run 2 years later. The 19-year-old convict executed a daring escape along with another convict named Nasir Grant. News reports would break down the facts, explaining that the combination of an unrepaired fence switched off.
An unrepaired fence switched off motion sensors and a sleeping guard among the factors that helped 2 men escape. Yo. We got the nigga who got smoked at jail when he got released, no security guard at the gate. Crazy. Unprepared fence. The motion sensors is not working, and a nigga sleep at the desk. What's going on?
Off motion sensors, and a sleeping guard allowed Hurst and Grant to slip away.
19 out. 19 hours before they noticed? You can get, 19? You can get all the way across the world in 12. Man, 19? I would have for sure been gone. I would have been in LA. I live in LA. I would have been for sure in like New York or something. He in Philly, I would have been in Mexico. I would have been gone. Long gone.
Undetected.
The DA showed video of Amin Hurst.
19, that's more than enough time. More than enough time. Nah. I would have robbed somebody, or if I had a little stash somewhere, grabbed the stash, got the bag, hopped on a bus. What, bro? And it's during COVID, so I'm masked up. Nobody's paying attention with a nigga with a mask on. Masked up, hopped on a Greyhound. Gone. Change my identity. I'm a new person now.
And Nasir Grant walking out of their cells at around 8:30 at night and then crawling on their bellies to a door to escape. Krasner says another inmate who was also out of his cell was their lookout. Krasner said it only took them 90 seconds to get out. He also revealed that a hole in the fence at the jail that the pair was able to sneak through had been there for about 7 weeks. Krasner.
What are we doing? It took them niggas a minute 30 to get out, and there was a hole in the wall for 7 weeks? Yo.
Krasner says prison officials knew about the hole, looked at it days before the escape, but nothing was done. We have a crew going through more of Krasner's revelations, including why the counts of prisoners were the same after the escape.
Somebody got fired.
How officials really learned 2 inmates had made it out. That's coming up starting today at 4 o'clock.
According to later reporting, once the escapees got through the fence, they jumped in an Uber and headed to South Philly, apparently all with the help of a woman and fellow gang member who organized their transition into hiding. Following the escape, a manhunt was launched in an effort to capture the escaped convicts, with a reward being offered as reported on CBS News Philadelphia.
Developing this morning, an active manhunt for 2 inmates who escaped from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center. Take a look. As the search pushes forward, law enforcement officials are looking for answers about how the pair were able to break out in the first place.
The first one is 18-year-old Amin Hurst. He has been charged with 4 separate murders, including one right here on State Road in Northeast Philadelphia back on in March of 2021. The other inmate is 24-year-old Nasir Grant, who has been charged with drug and gun offenses. Now, according to the Department of Prisons commissioner, these 2 inmates were housed in the same unit of the correctional center, but they were not cellmates. She says they were both accounted for at 8:30 on Sunday night, but then they missed each of the next 3 head counts, one at 11 o'clock on Sunday night, and then 2 more at 3 and 7 o'clock on Monday morning. She says it appears that they were both at the prison during those times, but she is wondering why they weren't listed as missing since they weren't present during those head counts. Mayor Jim Kenney calls it a major failure of our prison system.
The number one responsibility right now is to get these guys off the
counted,
street.
fired.
And any information that any folks can provide us, there's, I believe, a reward on each of them for $20,000 each for information leading to their arrest. So that's job number 1. Job number 2 is to get the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections in here and assess the system. Clearly, the system's screwed up. And people didn't do what they're supposed to do. It's clear.
The escape was a scandal for the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center and led to a review of the facility by the Department of Corrections.
According to this report, the prison did submit a plan of action, and these observations were expected to be addressed. Repairs to the outside wall were scheduled for spring of this year. Now, the mayor said today that the prison is now under review by the State Department of Corrections.
Somebody conducted 3 bed checks that either can't count or could count and did something wrong.
Nodder grass. What the I ain't gonna hold you.
Well, earlier this month, last week actually, the police said that the inmates were caught on video cutting a hole in the fence to make their break and were not noticed as missing until the next day. That's despite 3 head counts by prison staff.
In the time the fugitives were on the run, Philly residents were said to be living in fear, terrified of the prospect of a quadruple murderer walking amongst them.
Where we are is about 2 to 3 blocks from that prison where those inmates escaped. And if you look around me, I'm in a playground. Right next to me is a recreation center, and directly across the street are homes. We knocked on several of those doors, and neighbors say this whole situation is scary. In this home's...
Let's be real. Let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a buck. Them niggas are not 2 blocks away from the jail. Like, let's think here. They're going to get far as away as possible. Why the fuck would they be 2 blocks away? Come on now, let's think.
Neighborhood residents have their eyes out for 2 wanted men.
Have you seen these 2 faces?
I've seen them on the news, yes.
Get a good look.
They're not around there.
He's referring to 18-year-old Amin Hurst, accused of 4 murders. The other is 24-year-old Nasir Grant, who was being held on drug and gun charges. Police say the 2 inmates escaped from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center.
Staffing shortages, cameras that don't work, motion detectors that have been turned off, and a guard who is asleep. The DA says all of this aided in the escape of 2 dangerous men. Larry Krasner says he's not blaming anyone, as he pointed out There were multiple failures, he says, that puts the city in danger.
Canada geese, in the absence of a dog, were landing in the dog run. And when they landed in the dog run, they were setting off the sensors. And when they were setting off the sensors, eventually someone decided to turn them off.
And while those sensors, the DA says, were not picking up movement, they were helpful as the inmates used them to climb up over the fence.
After his escape, people on the Philly Wiki subreddit would speculate on what they would do if they were in Hearst's shoes. Some said he should go to Florida and flee for Cuba or another country with bad relations with the US, with people saying he's not making it out the country and that he should get off the grid. Others said that he has no escape and that US Marshals would find him on the moon. Some people pointed out that whoever helped him is in big trouble, while others said that he was probably just in one of his homies' basements and probably looking for the person that killed his sister in the parking lot last year. Unfortunately for Hearst, he didn't have the creativity that some of these Redditors did, and it turned out that he wasn't actually hiding far from where he came from. And just 10 days after his daring escape, he would be taken into custody by US Marshals in a standoff caught on camera and brought creativity that some of these Redditors did. And it turned out that he wasn't actually hiding far from where he came from. And just 10 days after his daring escape, he would be taken into custody by US Marshals.
Yo, if I was to go to jail and escape, I am gone. Nigga was hiding for 10 days. Yo. You was supposed to get on the, as soon as you got out, the first bus to the different state. First bus, my nigga. Why are you still in Philly? Like, I don't get it. Like, why would you stay in Philadelphia? What? Why?
In a standoff caught on camera and broadcast on Fox 29 Philadelphia. Following the arrest, NBC 10 Philadelphia would report on the capture, broadcasting the footage of Hearst getting in a car just before his arrest.
Pictures show U.S. Marshals officers taking Amin Hearst into custody early this morning, 10 days after the 18-year-old and another man escaped from a Philadelphia prison.
10 whole days?
Home security camera shows what appears to be Hearst walking near 61st and Washington Streets. This is in the Cobbs Creek section of West Philly. Robert Clark with the U.S. Marshal's office says Hearst got into a vehicle along with two family members. As that vehicle pulled off, officers went after it. Both inmates now, Hearst and Nazir Grant, are back in custody after officials say they cut a hole through a fence at the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center and escaped.
Now y'all two going back to jail, and the two family members are going to jail for aiding a criminal. Niggas aren't thinking.
It's something that we take pride in, that in 10 days we were able to get two escapees in custody without any use of force.
Apparently, he was found at his aunt's house, with people in disbelief that he would decide to stay in Philly after his escape. His brother and 3 other people will be charged for assisting the escape, as reported on CBS News Philadelphia, which explained that someone from his own family actually called the police with a tip.
After 10 days on the run
They wanted
and a
that 20
search
bands.
that spanned 3
Niggas ain't
different
shit.
states, tonight Amir Hearst is back behind bars.
The people here are saying, Cobbs Creek, how could this happen?
Wednesday night, community leaders went door to door talking to concerned Cobbs Creek residents after they learned 18-year-old Amin Hearst was arrested by U.S. Marshals near 61st Street and Washington Avenue more than a week after escaping from a Philadelphia correction center. During a news conference, Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal Robert Clark says they got a break in.
That shit crazy.
2021 was a violent year on the streets of Philadelphia, and the YBC gang and their younger counterparts, YFA, were a big reason for the violence playing out in the city. As 2021 went on, yet more people would continue losing their lives to these out-of-control shooters. And once again, as becomes the trend in this story, the desperation of the shooters to hurt someone in the streets led to more innocent people being killed for no reason. On the evening of May 25th, 2021, 18-year-old Nazir Marks was practicing his speech for his senior year project in front of his family before heading out to see his girlfriend. When he stepped off the bus at 39th and Poplar, he was shot multiple times, allegedly in a case of mistaken identity. 2 YBC shooters named Zaire Crawford, aka Baby 1K, and Samaj Nolan, aka Reek 1200, allegedly thought Nazir was a rival gang member and opened fire. His family would...
Yo, what I'm getting from Philadelphia is a whole bunch of stupid niggas. Like, you don't know who your ops are. You don't know what they look like. Like, 2 mistaken identities. 2 of them. Niggas need to put the guns up, put
Would be
them
interviewed by
down.
the news about the tragic situation, with his dad telling reporters that all of this came out of left field and that Nasir never got into any kind of trouble in the streets, also adding that Nasir was set to be the first person in his family to go to college. This was a tragic murder, but it would unfortunately be followed by another fatal shooting within 30 minutes in the same area, in what police would call two completely separate shootings, but we would later come to find out that they were in fact connected, after several of those YBC members responsible for Nasir's death were still lurking in the streets, armed, looking to catch anyone to kill. Perhaps they knew that Nasir was an innocent immediately after the murder and felt the need to make up for it, or perhaps they simply thought they would continue their spree and catch another op lacking. Eventually, the group happened upon a 15-year-old named Kanye Pittman. According to police, just before 8 p.m, Kanye was talking with a friend near the 2500 block of North Sydenham Street when Zaire Crawford, aka Baby 1K, Samaj Nolan, aka Reek 1200, and Yassine Miles, aka Baby Wick, would spot Kanye and open fire, hitting him multiple times. Some reports suggested that Kanye had gotten in a fight with the cousin of a YBC member and beaten them up badly, and that the shooting was revenge. Police would respond to reports of shots fired, finding Kanye suffering from several gunshot wounds. He would be rushed into hospital in a police car, but was pronounced dead later that evening at Temple University Hospital. News would report of these back-to-back murders as a tragedy in the community, and pointing out the crime rate in Philly was increasing drastically.
Killed in two separate shootings in the city last night have now been identified. Philadelphia police say 15-year-old Kanye Pittman died at the hospital after being shot multiple times in North Philadelphia. That shooting happened at 8 o'clock on the 2500 block of North Sydenham Street. No arrests have yet been made. A half hour before that shooting, an 18-year-old was shot and killed in the city's Mantua section. Police have already identified him as Nasir
30
Marks.
minutes.
He was shot multiple times in the 3900 block of Poplar Street around 7:30. No one has been arrested. As of last night, the city's homicide count was at 206. That is 40% higher than this time 1 year ago.
And following Kanye's death, his people would be devastated. One heartbreaking post on his obituary page reads, "Kanye, you were the main reason I was happy most of the time. Every time you came around on the weekend or so, it was always one of the best times of my life. I genuinely miss you every day, and I can't accept your death. I now wake up every day with a grudge against the world. I don't enjoy life or anything around me. I hate myself and everyone and everything. Please come back, Kanye. You were my everything. I love you." His mother would also open up about her heartbreak at the loss of her son in an Inquirer article, saying how he was a happy, popular, funny, and caring kid in his neighborhood, but unfortunately for her, following Kanye's death, he would become the target of ridicule by YBC members who mocked him ruthlessly in their songs. Reek 1200 actually bragged about these murders on his song No Get Back, where he rapped, "We spin back to back, two bodies in one day, they know what's up," seemingly mentioning that these murders were indeed less than an hour apart. YBC Doll would frequently refer to Kanye as the young bull from the back block, and in his song So Many Names, Doll would rap that young bull from the back block tried to run so they did him bad. And Doll would continue referring to Kanye by this nickname or his actual name in numerous other songs, with Kanye's mom later saying in an interview that every time a song drops dissing her son, somebody sends it to her. This would be yet another senseless loss of life in the Philly streets. My heart breaks reporting on these stories, and I can't say I've ever seen so many innocent people harmed covering a drill story before, but unfortunately for the residents of Philadelphia, the violence was far from over, and only a few months later, another gruesome double murder would take place. And in the middle of all of these murders were the Philly drill rappers, increasingly willing to put details of their gruesome crimes into songs for the whole city and world to hear. Before we go any further into the video, I just want to make a quick announcement. The Trap Lord and Help Me
Shout out to Ari.
Before prolific shooter in YBC, Curry was caught for the murder of Sidney Sessoms inside his own home, he actually committed another savage double murder that would take the life of two teenagers with loose affiliations to YBC's rivals. The shocking triple shooting would take place in West Philly on Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. Around noon, a 16-year-old student athlete, Kalen Johnson, known by friends as KJ or K3, with his football jersey also repping the number 3. He had just finished the summer school at Boys Latin Charter School and was headed to play basketball with his friends. KJ had also just got his driver's license a few weeks earlier, and he would take a few of his friends with him in his car, including his childhood friend and another gifted basketball player, Tommy Frazier, also known as Lil Snipe, as well as two other youths. Unfortunately, what they didn't know was that they were being trailed by two people associated with YBC, who were on a hunt for one of the two boys in the car who was allegedly affiliated with a rival gang. KJ would drive about 1 mile before stopping at the intersection of 56th and Vine to drop off one of the friends. But there, one of the two people trailing the group from YBC would open fire on the car, hitting KJ and Tommy multiple times, including KJ in the head and Tommy in the chest, killing both of them, while one of the other youths would get hit in the shoulder but fortunately survived. And in true YBC fashion, the fourth youth that was the actual intended target of the shooters would escape the scene without getting hit, and calling KJ
Yo, these Philly niggas can't shoot for shit. They can't shoot to save their fucking life. over here just shooting in at civilians.
KJ's mother soon after to tell her what had happened. Only 8 minutes before the shooting, KJ himself had called his mum to let her know about his plans, his last words to her being, "Love you, bye mum." KJ's mum would then rush to the scene, but her son had already been taken to the Presbyterian hospital, where KJ would unfortunately be pronounced dead. Not long after the shooting, local television news would be at the scene, capturing the police investigating KJ's blue Hyundai that was now riddled with bullets.
Developing right now, 2 teens were killed and a third was hurt in a triple shooting this afternoon on the 200 block of North 56th Street in West Philadelphia. Police say the teens who were killed were both 15. Both males were shot.
Oh, half the niggas that are getting got were in high school still. Half these motherfuckers was 15, 16, bro, not even full adults yet.
Multiple times in the torso, and a 16-year-old was shot once in the shoulder. He is in stable condition. No arrests have been made.
The gun violence crisis now led to more tragedy this afternoon in West Philadelphia. 2 teens are dead after they were shot on North 56th Street near the scene of another shooting that happened just last night. A third teen was seriously hurt.
It's babies! It's babies! These are babies! That West Philadelphia woman voicing what many feel after 2 young lives were taken as a result of gun violence this afternoon. While police investigate what happened on North 56th and Vine, the community can't help but feel despair.
I mean, it's all over. It was just a shooting last night.
That same evening and the next day, many local news would report on this recent tragedy in the streets of Philly, highlighting both the deadly toll of 2021 so far and the month of July specifically, during which over 200 people had been killed or wounded in shootings in just 20 days. The violence had gotten so bad in Philly at this point that the mayor had to come out and explain to people why he was refusing to declare a state of emergency.
2 teenagers are dead, another is injured after gunfire erupted in West Philadelphia. This comes as Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney defends his decision to not declare a state of emergency as gun violence continues to surge to record levels in the city. Action News reporter Dan Cuellar is live at police headquarters tonight with more.
They need a state of emergency, nigga. They need a fucking curfew, my nigga. You can't, once the sun go down, niggas need to be in the house. Like, bro, niggas need to stay in the house. That's the best advice. Stay your ass in the house.
Dan.
Rick, it is clear that the lines have been drawn on whether a state of emergency should be declared to stem the tide of rising record gun violence. A growing number of community activists saying one should be declared immediately. The mayor today doubling down, saying he will not do so.
If this isn't a public crisis, then what is? If this isn't a public health issue that needs to be done in an emergency, what needs to be done?
Community activist Tariq Glasgow is just one of a number of voices across the city that have been calling on Mayor Jim Kenney to declare a state of emergency in the wake of gun violence that's gone unabated by anything the city has done so far.
It's hitting home, so it's real to us every day. It's affected all of our households. And to say that it's not in a state of emergency, it is an emergency.
Today at noon, an hour before the mayor was to address gun violence, 3 teenage males were shot in the 200 block of North 56 that were sitting in a blue Hyundai. A 16 and 18-year-old were shot and killed. A third victim, a 16-year-old, was wounded after being shot in the shoulder. But the mayor doesn't believe a state of emergency declaration is needed.
What I think it could do is have an unintended consequence and cause more fear in our communities, especially communities of color, already dealing with decades of systemic racism and poverty, which we are committed to getting rid of.
The Action News data team reports that 1,289 people have been shot so far this year in Philadelphia, that the city has a higher homicide rate than both Chicago and New York City.
We have to start taking accountability. The politicians can only do so much. The community activists can only do so much. We, as adults, as parents, as guardians, have to start housing our houses.
Others agree with that assessment, but say a state of emergency declaration is still needed.
The emergency
student here too into
killing 3 teens learns his fate. Earlier this month, the judge sentenced 22-year-old Arshad Curry for the murders of 3 Philadelphia teenagers. One of them was 16-year-old.
I'm getting a little tired. I ain't gonna hold you. We're gonna have to do a part 2 for this, John. We got part 2 for the rest of this shit. Like, comment, subscribe. Part 2 probably come tomorrow. The next day after that. Yeah.